Oval racing. It's one of the most exciting forms of motor racing there is on the planet. Usually when people hear ovals and Kansas in the same sentence, they think of stock car racing. Well, not today. Today, the speeds are ramped up for a full 300 miles of IndyCar action. Hello and welcome one and all to RaceSpotTV, and welcome to Kansas Speedway. I'm Miller Rempo. I've got Dylan Coyle beside me in the booth today, and Hugo Louise behind the cameras for this 1.5 mile speedway hosting round 3 of the 2021 Classic IndyCar Series season. Dylan, 200 laps around this facility, and with these cars capable of speeds regularly over 180 miles an hour around this place, this race here is sure to be a doozy.
Yeah, and you know what? Hello, everybody. We've got 2 ovals in a row, so that's going to be interesting. Whatever happens here is going to also come into play at Motegi in just 2 weeks' time. We take a look at the calendar, and there's a lot of ovals over the next few months, actually.
There certainly are. You got Twin Rig Motegi headed over to Japan for what is going to be the only other international race on the season. Then we kick back over to the Americas for the race number 5 at Watkins Glen. Then short track racing at Richmond Raceway. Usually the Indian cars go to Iowa. Well, not this season. They're going to Richmond. Then, of course, comes Michigan. Bound to be an exciting race. Sonoma, pretty much going to be a tamer one. Chicagoland Speedway in September, along with Mid-Ohio. Road America, and, of course, the famed Indy 500 wrap out the season here today. So there are quite a few ovals coming up yet, and I am glad to see that because IndyCars at ovals is a whole other spectacle here. So 300 miles, 200 laps getting set to win this one. The last time we raced here was in 2018. Henry Bennett won that one. Liam Quinn, less than half a tenth of a second off of him. We were told that this is most likely going to be a pack race, and based on what we've been seeing in practice here, I have a feeling that's exactly what it's going to be here for today. Now, of course, got the penalties as well you got to go over as well. Pit lane starts today are going to include Johnny Garrett and Mark June. Drivers that have to start this race from the tail end of the field are Gabor Visky, Troy Dolanchek, Liam Quinn, Todd Novosad, and Dave Loda as well. So it is going to be a pretty interesting race for quite a few of these guys. Take a look here at the point standings. Why don't you take us through the top 5 cars here, Dylan?
Yeah, Ethan Hagan, I mean, he's been very consistent throughout the first few races of the season. That's why he's got a 21-point advantage so far. And you know what? That's kind of the key for success here in this series. You have to be consistent. It's no win and you're in type scenarios. It's just consistency. Points. Lucas Laville, Joshua Chin, 2 drivers you expect to be closer to the very top of the leaderboard at this point in the season, even though we're early on. I mean, it could be a little bit of a cause for concern, wouldn't it, Nolan?
Well, of course, Robert Groscher has not had the best of luck. He has, of course, had 2 major spills at both Phillip Island and at Long Beach, so he desperately needs a good race coming here into today. The rookie Troy Dolanchek sitting in 3rd, though, and he's looking set that he might want to run for that top spot. He is right up there with Lucas Laville, one of the best, and Joshua Chin is just behind after his win, moving up 14 positions in the standings for where he started earlier today. So, well, let's take a bit of a second here before we get this race underway, and we'll take you for a lap here around Kansas Speedway.
And here we go then, green flag in the air, Kansas, and there's a bit of hesitation through your field, but it does look as though we are going to get our cars going. We're all going to get them through the start-finish line and in towards turn number 1. As we've got a battle going on then for the race lead. Constantini looking to the high side, and then you've got yourself Matt Cook down low. They'll come past the start-finish line. Who's going to have it at the line? That time by, it was Cook who had it, and he's going to get the run on that inside line. You've got to be careful here, running too wide, but that progressive banking does give you the opportunity to do so. Cook goes out in Constantini. Oh my word, what did we just see? We just saw Cook and Constantini both do exactly the thing we talked about there, Jack. Both of them getting on the noisy pedal too early. Cook, Constantini have both thrown their races away.
Welcome to the Classic IndyCar Series at Kansas. This track is rich with history in the Classic IndyCar Series, last visiting in 2018. Matt Cook was leading most of the race when a restart on cold tires would forever change how the league viewed restarts. The top 3 cars all spun out in the last few laps of the race that led to Henry Bennett winning one of the most notorious finishes in history. Today we return to the track to bring back the action that will always come with this fast course. The lines will be very different depending on the weather, but expect to see 2 wide racing around this flat out course. Throughout the race, the car will be forgiving going around this track. The leader will likely be holding the low line to defend his position and force his opponents to pass him around the outside. Turns 3 and 4 will be the best opportunity for the challenging driver to make their move, so expect to see action here. Going down the front stretch, the drivers will be holding the bottom line to defend their inside. You won't see anyone trying to pass below the solid white line, as it is an illegal move. This has been a track tour brought to you by Joshua Baird. I hope you enjoy the race.
An incredibly quick lap around Kansas Speedway then. We're getting set for 200 more here. Warm-up is just finishing up down there on the Speedway, and as we take things over to the official race session, let's take a run down here through the starting grid. Nate Michael starts on the pole, one of the newcomers coming into today, along with Andrew Aiken beside him, just 1/100th of a second behind in the second position. Another rookie, Rod Carpenter, is in third place with Mike Gerlicka in fourth. Felipe Lambert is in fifth with Randy Shoemake in the sixth position. Ethan Hagan is in seventh. Joshua Chin, a driver who is so strong on ovals, is in eighth with Josh Baird and Jamie Wilson in ninth and 10th. Andrew Wood, Logan Simmons in 11th and 12th, with Art McEwen in 13th. Paulie Partonen in 14th, Robert Groscher in the 15th position. Matt Molnar sits in 16th, Willie Schwarbauer is in 17th, with Jan Hoffman, Rob McBride is in 17th, and Schwarbauer is in 18th. Jan Hoffman's in 19th, with Marshall Stanley rounding out the top 20 here, Dylan.
Yeah, and of course you've got me stuck with Vesa in 21st. I think you were the one that planned that. Lucas LaVille in 22nd. That is very far back, but he might make his way through the field fairly easily. Dirty air will be a problem. Andrew Adair Saunders, Cody Luke ran at the top 24. And then Hans Pickett, Don Day, Stefan Rossman, Liam Quinn, Todd Novosad, Johnny Garrett, your top 30, Nolan.
And that is going to do it here, a 30-car grid, and penalties have already been issued for where people need to start today, so they're going to be getting set to go out today. There are a few rookies coming into the race today. Got Rod Carpenter, Cody Luke, and Don Day. Carpenter is way up there in the field. Luke and Day, not so much. They've got a lot of work to do for the tail end of the field, 26th and 24th respectively, but the field now starting to lap their way here around this circuit for what is going to be the one and only time for Virgo Green. Your final thoughts here, Dylan, as we enter the back straightaway.
I think we're going to see some calamity happen today based off what we were seeing in practice. Drivers are going to have to be racing in the pack, which never leads to clean racing all throughout.
Entering turns 3 and 4 around the mile-and-a-half speedway for the final time today before we go green flag racing for 300 miles, 200 laps. This race is no doubt going to be a good one. Now the inside line starts to stack themselves up with the leaders, and we are ready to go. The pace car pulls off. It is going to be in the hands here of Andrew Aiken around the outside, I believe. Lambert on the inside. Green flag drops. We are underway. There's big check up in the back. 3, 4 wide already. Trying to fan out all the way down the front straightaway. They launch towards turn number 1. And it looks like, despite that massive Constantina effect, we're underway. Felipe Lambert comes off of turn number 4. He will lead the opening lap here at Kansas Speedway, but Andrew Aiken is hot on his heels, trying to run him down. 215 miles an hour down the front straightaway, well over 300 kilometers of an hour, trying to blaze through this track. Pack racing is going to be the side here today. One car pips onto the apron. That is going to be Matt Molnar fading to the back of the field in a hurry down there on the apron for turns 3 and 4, but still running strong up in front. They are starting to catch some lap traffic already of Johnny Garrett. Now, Garrett had one of those pit road starts, and he's got to really try to work his way up there and fend himself up here today. Matt Molnar comes down to pit road, so early struggles with the 29 car. No idea what would have happened there to Matt Molnar. Might have had the wrong setup in there, though.
And I can definitely tell you what happened at the start. Robert Groscher, a guy we expect to be one of the top drivers in the field. Unfortunately, he jumped the start, and he had to check up, making everybody else behind him check up. It was a bit of monkey see, monkey do, which led to a potential calamity at the start, but nothing happening there.
Looking 3 wide for the race lead down to the turn number 3, and Randy Shoemake is going to back out of that one. So Andrew Aiken on the top side, Lambert on the bottom, trying to fight side by side for the race lead as we come to the close of lap number 4. And look who's going to get it at the line. It goes to Andrew Aiken to lead the last lap by just 14 thousandths of a second. Lambert still trying to pull ahead though through the bottom side, but that top line, if you can get the line right, you can get so much of a run off that corner. Now Shoemaker looking to the bottom side to try to go 3 wide for the lead again. Shoemaker's trying to find a way through.
Oh, that is just not a smart move by Shoemaker, so thankfully he pulled out of it. We're going to see a lot of daring attempts today, especially as we get closer to that 200 lap mark, as they're still side by side, multiple rows back, and in a little bit, they're going to catch up to some lap traffic in the form of Johnny Garrett, who will really want to stay on the lead lap.
2 by 2 by 2 by 2 for the first 4 rows here on the grid. Then it starts to single file out with 9th place. 10th and 11th still side by side, and for the most part, everybody's kind of running in the single file train just behind. Backwards of 21st, Pierce have already lost the end of the train. Everybody else kind of just running on their lonesome, so it really is kind of this top 12 grouping here that's in this big train up in the front here. The draft is going to be so powerful over the course of the day, and that's going to be something we're going to have to really keep our eyes on here as it plays out, and as the tires start to wear in as well. It is worth noting that while Andrew Aiken is not able to get the pass done around the outside line, he is forcing Lambert to absolutely destroy his tires.
Yeah, and when you do run the inside line here, that's going to cost you a lot of time and a lot of tires. Maybe not time, but the tires will wear off as time goes on, which will lead to some lost time.
So continuing to tick through this race here, the laps are already approaching lap number 10, approaching double digits, and we haven't even been in this race for more than 6 minutes. It's been an absolutely quick one so far. As these open races often go, the lap time is just 25.5 seconds right now. Those are probably going to grow close to about 30 seconds here by the time these tires really start to wear down. But look at how close these guys are still getting on the exit of these corners.
Yeah, I mean, look at how many cars are in this field as well, just pushing for it. There are so many drivers in this top pack. What, like 15 back?
It appears like we've got about 13th place is the one hanging right in the back, and then you got everybody else behind. But the other drivers behind are also starting to kind of ease off here. They're not trying to really go for a whole lot of aggressive maneuvers. They're trying to just sort themselves out here, maybe see if they can run down this lead train here. But look at this, 3 wide for a brief moment, and one car really had to step out of that one. There was Baird up the middle.
Yeah, and Josh Baird has had a few scary moments in this race so far. He was in the middle of the 3 wide sandwich, got down low, and it appears that he didn't lose too much time from there, but at the exit of 2, it was just very dangerous in terms of speed difference for him.
Almost nothing between these drivers, and of course with stock cars you can get significantly closer than these guys are, and you can do the same in Indy cars. You don't want to do it in Indy cars though, because the slightest contact might send you out and through the fencing on the outside wall. We saw that a couple times of drivers slamming into the metal fencing there just on the outside, and that is definitely going to be something to watch out for in the event of a big accident, especially in these corners here. Now take a look at this one. I think this is one of the close calls that you were mentioning earlier on. Look at that scrape with the wall.
Yep, that was insane. I mean, literally, you couldn't even fit a piece of paper between his right side tires and the safer barrier. Oh no, we have big trouble.
Caution flag is out. Big crash on the front straightaway. And that all started, I do believe, when 2 cars made contact with Joshua Chin and Logan Simmons. Might have been Shoemaker as well on the bottom, as Joshua Chin did make it out of that, but about 2-3 cars got sent around. Somehow, though, not a lot of action drivers involved. Shoemaker got the worst of that one. First caution of the day, lap number 14.
Wow. I mean, as we're talking about close calls right there, it just seemed like, and we'll catch it in the replay in just a little bit, but it just seemed like Logan Simmons came up while it appears that Randy Shoemake was coming down. A little bit of dirty air played a factor, but I think it's just a matter of whenever you're in one lane and you're trying to get the turn signal to the other lane, you both kind of go into the same lane and trouble starts.
Who was that on the outside there that just barely managed to scrape past Shoemake? That was an absolutely legendary avoidance there from that car on the outside line. Joshua Chin will lead the field excuse me. He will
Robert
leave the field
Groscher.
down to pit road.
Oh my goodness, Robert Groscher.
Was that Groscher that
he
made the absolutely bonsai pass around the outside line? He saw a gap and he went for it. It's a good thing he did, because a second later it closed and caught the driver behind him.
Yep. And here's the replay right here.
On board with Groscher, watch Shoemake come down on Simmons there, but they make contact, and watch this gap. Here's there, it's not! Oh boy.
How do you get through that? I mean, that's just pure luck right there. He has to have the car in front turn at the exact angle for him to get through the hole. I mean, that's unbelievable. I'm surprised that more drivers were not taken out with that incident.
Oh, you and me both. I mean, that wreck had the potential to be so much worse than it was, and it's a good thing that these guys had the awareness to make sure that that was not as bad as it was. It ended up really only being a single car spin there, and a couple drivers did come down to take the tires on that stop. Of course, these drivers do not have a tire set limit here, so they are allowed to take as many tires as they want.
Yep, and when you're allowed to take as many tires as you want, you usually want to take advantage of that, especially as we go throughout the field later in the day. If you see a few drivers going into the pits, you think, why not? I'm either going to stay out. I think we're going to see some risks being taken, because it's not necessarily the tires that are going to matter as much as that dirty air. Sometimes if you're worrying about track position, getting up into the top 5 on slightly used tires will make a greater difference than going to 15th on fresh new tires. Of course, you have the weight jacker, everything like that.
I'm going to take a moment here with we're still 2 to green here. I'm going to cycle through the field here a little bit. We'll kind of show you where everybody's at. So Lambert still shockingly holds on to the race lead after all that. Andrew Aiken will no doubt be hounding him for the first position and second. Points leader, Ethan Hagan, he's in third. Robert Groscher sitting in the 4th position. He needs a good day today, and it was so close to being disastrous. He's also up 11 spots where he started today.
That's right for him.
Yeah, so you have Jamie Wilson in 5th, Harvey Ewan in 6th, Gerlicka 7th, Partanen in the 8th position, Willie Schwarbauer in 9th, Todd Novosad in 10th, up 18 spots where he started today, having to serve an end-of-the-line penalty from last year. This is his first start on the season, and wow. Managed to make up 18 already in just 16 laps. That means he's going over 2 spots a lap, so he could be a contender for the win here at the end of this one.
Yep, and I think anyone in this field right now can be a contender at the end. A lot of this is going to depend on how good these drivers are dealing with the dirty air in the draft. And by the way, remember, on IndyCar restarts, it's just single file.
This means it should be a little bit tamer out of the line than it was on the initial start, but you never know. I mean, you guys do have these guys do have the potential definitely for Ruhlsman. These cars have a lot of power underneath them that they got to try to wrangle.
Yeah, and when you have all of that power to try and wrangle, you know, it can lead to, especially on used tires, it can lead to some extra wheel spin. We're also not going to see the bottom get used here. Remember, you can pass on the outside. That means that all of these drivers are going to hug the wall on these restarts to try and make sure that no one can pass them legally.
So this should definitely be quite the entertaining race here as we get set to go racing here once again from Kansas Speedway. Coming to the close, caution number 1, Felipe Lambert up and away. It's a massive jump from the number 6 car. Andrew Aiken was left in the dust.
Everybody was left in the dust on that restart. There's huge car gaps from first place on back. I mean, look at Art McEwitt. He's got miles of space in front and behind him, but Mike Garlicka is now in this battle with a bunch of cars in the midfield. Top of the midfield, I should say.
There is side-by-side action further in the back, and you see the big side-by-side trade just off of the turn 4 there. That's Ron Carpenter on the outside line, just trying to fend off both Jan Hoffman and Josh Baird at the same time here. You've also got Marshall Stanley, Lucas LaVille, Liam Quinn, Cody Luke, and more in the mix here. So this is going to be a very intense fight here for some of these midfield spots. This is in the battle right now overall for just 14th place.
I do not want to be Lucas Laville in this situation, because you're going to have have a little bit more of a turning radius in these corners to deal with this dirty air. That's going to lead to your tires getting worn just a little bit more, and because of all of these cars right around you, it's just more dangerous. You don't want to be around all of this traffic when you could be in clean air, and he's trying immediately right now to get back to a point where it's comfortable enough for him.
So the racing will continue here. We ride on board with Lucas Laville up to where he started so far today. Still in the 19th position, though, so Lucas Laville, a long, long way to go. And he did not have an end of line. Oh, trouble! One car spinning around. It's Novosad, I believe, way in the background. Sorry, no, it's Ron Carpenter that's lost the back end. And Carpenter will bring out caution number 2 on the day. That was definitely with contact, and he was right in front of Stefan Rossman at the time of contact was made.
Yeah, and Lucas Laville was the man that just passed him. And we'll catch in the replay, he just got really high as he gets back into the pits. Yeah, so this is coming in out of, I believe, turn 2. He gets really high, but it looks like he was just kind of walked into. It doesn't seem like that was too much of his fall. I want to see a different angle, maybe head on, just to kind of get a feel. So, you know, I don't know. What was your take on that, Nolan?
It can kind of go both ways. I mean, on the one hand, it is kind of up to the overtaking car to make it cleanly, and I think you have to put that more on the car behind him.
Yeah, I still want to see it again, because how did he start moving down? I mean, that's my whole question. Was it him? Was it Rod Carpenter who came down on him, or was it just combo both, car trying to pass him? In conclusion, all right, this is perfect. So Carpenter up high. Oh, it looks like it was almost a sandwich, and Carpenter was trying to come down the block. See, in that view, I mean, what do you do if you're the car in the middle of that sandwich? You can't do much except stay where you are, back out. I almost feel like that was more self-inflicted.
You really can't put the car behind him at fault either, because, I mean, if he slows up, he's going to get run over from behind as well. When you get to these cars and you're flying through these corners at 185, 190 miles an hour, there is no time to react. If you twitch the wheel to the right to avoid him, you're going to put yourself into the outside wall, but you can't turn it to the inside anymore, because you're already turning about as much as the car will allow.
The only one with a good amount of space there was Rod Carpenter up high.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he just kind of came down across the nose. And again, I don't think he would have realized that he had the car just barely on the inside here.
Right.
Spotters, of course, when you're at an angle like that, it's very difficult for even a spotter to see if the car actually has the nose there or if they don't. And a lot of drivers, they don't tend to take the safe than sorry approach on this.
Yeah, no. And the attrition rate of this battle, I mean, it's already kind of going down. We had 30 cars start this race. So far, only 26 are on the lead lap. I think that it's going to continue to come down. How many cars do you think are going to be on the lead lap by the end of this race, Nolan? Let's just throw a number out there.
I'm going to go for 16.
I was going to go 15.
I was going to say, I feel like we get a long green flag run. The guys up in front, when we had that 14-lap run at the start, they were already pulling away, and you had some cars that were already about a quarter of a track behind the race leaders at the time that first yellow came out when Randy Shoemake got spun around.
Okay, so let's put it this way. If it's 16 or above, so if it's above 15 and a half, you win, and if it's below, I win. How
do you have 15 and a half cars a lap down?
This, okay, here's a lesson in sports. Because
you want to explain the math to me on that one, Dylan?
Yes, because you do halves. You do halves. When it's above a half, that means it's the whole number above or high. It's basically saying 16 or more or 15 or less, but it's easy, above 15 and a half or below 15 and a half. Does that make sense?
I don't know math.
No.
You're making my head hurt.
Wow.
I watch cars. That's what I do.
Don't bet on a sports book then anytime soon.
I'm gonna have to bring in a calculator here to figure that out.
It's we need someone in the chat try and help explain this to Nolan. But we have that. going on. If it's fine, we'll do it your way. If it's 16 or above, you win. If it's 15 or below, I win. Not that we're trying to make live bets or anything, but I just think the attrition race. Yes, I think I don't know what we win. I think the attrition race rate of this race is going to be fairly poor, to be honest with you, just because we've seen what happens when Indy cars in general go pack racing. Usually it doesn't end up all that well. These cars are very difficult to handle. They've got a lot of horsepower, so a lot of wheel spin, a lot of dirty air, and if we're going 3 wide like that, at this point in the race already, we're going to see even more down the stretch. We're only, an eighth of the way through.
That we are. Only 25 laps complete out of the 200-lap race tonight. We've already had 2 different cautions tonight. Thankfully for single-car spin, so we'll have to see if that trend will continue. Lambert up and away, onto the gas, and we are back racing. 3rd place, caught napping there. Art McEwen under fire from Mike Rolica already in the run down towards turn number 1.
That is a gigantic gap between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Wow. Talk about getting caught sleeping. Not even just caught sleeping, just caught almost in a coma there.
Oh, and one car falling way down the order. That's Rod Carpenter, who is still damaged from that crash. He's trying to let the field through on the front straightaway. He is so slow, though. We're talking 30 miles an hour slower. Very dangerous situation there. Looks like he will get everybody through all right, though. Still side by side from 4th to 3rd here as Art McEwen is trying to get by Michael Licka. There you can see that's Rod Carpenter out there in the 28 car on the racetrack. And geez, he is losing so much time. He's got destroyed rear wing.
So he actually came out of the pits right as they went green. So even with that destroyed front wing, he wasn't up to speed yet. Now this is him up to speed. It is still much slower than the rest of the competition here. So he's going to have to be very careful to not get involved in any mess-ups.
Not to mention with the damaged rear wing, the rear end stability on that car is going to be basically shot into the ground. So he's going to have to really try to get that car settled and maybe see if he can just run some laps to see if it comes back to him. On board with Josh Baird, watching the battle up in front. McEwen trying to fight off Chin, trying to secure a pass around Mike Gerlicka. McEwen's going to slot himself right in front of Josh Baird, who's now going to go to his inside.
Oh, wow, you're watching this battle. I'm watching the one happening just behind for a spot in the top 10. This is some great racing. It's just how long can they keep this up? Oh, man, it always feels so uncomfortable when they all slot back into position coming out of turn 4.
The way these cars turn, they just turn so quickly that when they come off the corner, you don't realize how fast they turn until they're off the corner. And there is Andrew Aiken slotting himself right in front of Marshall Stanley. And now they're single filed out in this train here. Now, this is the train from 9th all the way back to about 15th, 16th position here. And you got guys up in front starting to do battle as well, including your race leaders who are trying to go side by side.
Yep, that's what happens when the draft is involved here. Philippe Lambert and Jamie Wilson, 2 drivers that are trying to fight for the lead of this race. On the outside, it's Jamie Wilson. He does not have the draft, doesn't have any dirty air, though, to worry about, but now he's going to slot back in behind. You think he might get a move done by the time we're here at the finish line next lap.
Now here's the problem. The longer they're side by side, the more Joshua Chin, that Chimera machine just behind, is starting to reel him in as Wilson and Lambert. Look out! One car sliding down, way in the background, slams the inside wall. Matt Molnar is totaled that Dallara IR05. I think that was a self-inflicted error.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. There was nobody around him.
Matt Molnar's car is toast. He will not be finishing this race. That will likely spell the end of his day. Caution number 3 on lap 33. And it was a little bit of a twitch, and then the car just came around on him.
Yep, and it's unfortunate because once you get into that inside wall as well, that means...
hello, we got a crash and a caution here. Art McEwen just spun in the back of the pictures there.
Oh my goodness. I'll listen to hear what anyone's saying on the radio.
Well, so far, all's quiet, and I think that's good. I don't think McEwen will really want to do anything about that, but McEwen, he has no front wing anymore, so McEwen has just destroyed his car. That's an embarrassing mistake there. Take a look at this. It just came around into braking.
Honestly, I think it was him trying to shift to a lower gear, and the car just caught traction. If we can get an onboard sound, that would give us an answer.
The field is in pit road, or some portion of it at least, including, I believe, your race leader coming down to the lane. No, Lambert has continued to stay out through all of this. Now here's on board with McEwen. I don't know.
I don't know either. I have no idea what happened to him right there.
I think the field was kind of checking up for the pace car right where he was, so I think he just got caught off guard by how fast some people were checking up, so he just braked a bit too much and twitched the wheel at the same time. Of course, if you slam the brakes while you're turning, well, you know what's going to happen then.
So I'm trying to re-watch it from his view again and see the speed as well. And now I've got the view from his cockpit. We'll see. Oh, let's see where it happens. You know what? No shifting in gear. He was already down the speed, and then he just freaked out and tried to go on the brakes, and that happened. I have no idea how that would happen. We'll catch the replay here. This is where he slows down. And
he's checking out for the pace car. Yeah, right there. They started to slow up, and he just panic braked.
Wow. Nothing else to it.
That is not the way you want to end your day. McEwen does have a new front wing on that car, but he is still sitting in pit road here, so he is going to lose a lap. So that 40 car has got a lot of work ahead of him now if he wants to try to work himself up. He was running up there in the top 10 before that incident.
Yeah, he was. He was, wasn't he the one with the bad restart as well?
I think it was.
Wow. Well, sometimes things just spiral out of control.
So Lambert still leads the train. Andrew Aiken is in second. Aiken fourth. Groscher fourth. Olilia in fifth position. He has also worked his way up several spots. Started 21st. He's now up into the top 5. Paulie Parton is in the 6th position. Schwarbauer is 7th. Novosad 8th. Wood 9th. Andrew Adair Saunders in 10th. Then, of course, you got Joshua Chin in the 11th. Jimmy Wilson in 12th. Josh Baird 13th. Michael Luca in 14th. Jen Hoffman 15th. Nate Michael in 16th. Liam Quinn 17th. Johnny Garrett 18th. Simmons in 19th. Stanley 20th. LaVille 21st. Cody Luke, one of the rookies coming into today, 22nd. Stefan Rossman in 23rd. Don Day, one of the other rookies, in 24th. Hans Pickenen Hans Pickenen, the last driver on the lead lap in 25th, with Art McEwen, Rod Carpenter, both laps down, 1 and 4 respectively. Matt Molnar, Randy Shoemake are both out of the race, and Niall McBride did not start the race.
Yep, so I mean, that number is just going to continue creeping down as well, of drivers who are even in this race. Out of drivers who are still going to be able to be competitive, I mean, they're all on the lead lap right now. The only driver who is still in this race right now who is not on the lead lap, there's now 2. Rod Carpenter, 4 laps down. He just came out of the pits slowly. I have no idea what's going on with him. And Art McEwen, obviously, who is now 1 lap down, could potentially get back on the lead lap if he gets lucky with a wave around of some sort. But I mean, that's the chances of that are low.
So the Vortex Sim Racing driver will be starting out there in the first position. He's got one of the AeroX cars just behind. It will likely be trying to make a run on him here for this restart, assuming he can get a good launch. But Lambert so far has been the king of restarts here. Pace car is off, and Lambert off immediately, not wasting any time. And it is another big gap from Andrew Aiken. But the thing is, we've now seen it's only a matter of time before he's going to get reeled back in.
See all the cars going single file. There's 2, 3 car groups that are very close. Some are already side by side. It just doesn't happen with the leaders until we get a little bit farther down, or further down, I should say, in this green flag run.
It has suddenly gotten very dim over the track as a layer of clouds has descended over the facility just up above the track there. So that is likely going to be cooling down the track quite significantly here. That could play into big here as to how this race could play out. Take a look here at the battle for 8th place. Todd Novosad and Andrew Wood duking it out right there, coming off of turn number 2 this time by. And just behind, you've got Joshua Chin and Andrew Dersondas there trying to catch up to this battle here as well.
Yep, and Novosad, look at how many positions he's gained so far. 19. That's extremely impressive.
Novosad lifted out of the throttle for just the smallest of seconds there down the front straightaway. Not sure what that was all about, but just behind, you see the battle for 9th and 10th starting to pick on up. This is Andrew Dersondas here in the 11th position, trying to run down Joshua Chin in 10th. Now, Chin needs another good day here today. He had a good one at Long Beach just last week, but you never know what could happen here. He really needs a good race if he wants to get himself back into title contention with 21 points separating first and second right now in the points. Lambert has also been caught here by Andrew Aiken, and they're now side by side for the lead.
My goodness, these clouds have rolled in and made this track almost needing some lights to light everything up right now, but they are side by side. Again, Lambert has the advantage. I think that when you're running single file, taking the low line is the better option. But look who is in third and in this battle. It's Ethan Agan.
Points leader Ethan Agan, and Agan is one of the drivers who we did not expect really to be up in front of the point standings. Usually it's LaVille, Chin, and Groscher, but Ethan Agan has really come out swinging this year. He won the opener at Phillip Island, one of 2 international races, and then he, of course, had a pretty decent run at Long Beach as well. But he finished on the podium there. So Ethan Agan, he might be getting sent here for his second win on the season here, and 3rd podium, which would be absolutely legendary and would definitely help Ethan Agan to retain the points lead coming into round number 4 at Twin Ring Motegi.
You know what? And he has the benefit of being able to pick whichever line is faster at any given moment. He's going to use the full width of the track. In the turns, he's going to go down low to be with Lambert, and in the front stretch and the back stretch, well, look where he's going to be. Back up top, back down low. The only problem you have to worry about here is how much will dirty air affect him. It doesn't seem like it's affecting him too much.
He's actually going to keep to the top line here and follow Andrew Aiken, I think trying to get a better run off of the corner here. He's also got Robert Groscher, another Vortex Sim Racing driver, just behind. So now, Vortex Sim Racing drivers are both up here in this battle for the race lead. And Groscher, who's up 11 spots, might be looking to help out his teammate there, and that means putting himself between the other 2 drivers that he's trying to battle with. So this is going to get hairy here in a minute.
Yep, and you just get almost flashbacks of that 4-car crash in 2018, don't you, Nolan?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So Lambert versus Aiken, Groscher versus Agan. Who will be able to come out on top of this one? Andrew Aiken, Ethan Agan run into the same grouping here. Robert Groscher and Felipe Lambert, the teammates, going to be going at it as well. Ethan Agan bails out, going to go back in single file with Robert Groscher, not wanting to really waste his tires by battling on the inside line there. They're starting to fight as well for 5th and 6th just behind these guys with Andrew Wood and Paulie Partonen just side by side behind with Willis Schwarber and Chin right behind them as well. So the battle's starting to pick on up here once again inside the top 10. Now the question is, do we keep it green enough that we can see what these battles will, how they will play out?
I hope you didn't jinx anything. These battles are going to get even closer as we go down in a green flag run. Could you imagine if the restarts were happening 2 apiece?
Oh boy. Well, that's what they do in NASCAR. Of course, IndyCars don't do that, I believe, for safety reasons, and understandable to see why.
It's a little bit chaotic.
Still racing for the race lead here, and this is going to be the trend here for these battles here, all the way up until we get that first round of green flag pit stops, assuming we make it out long enough that we can go for green flag pit stops. That battle for 6, though, is getting a heck of a lot closer here. They almost wrecked off of turn number 4, and now they're dicey for positions here as they enter turn 1 once again for the 48th time today.
Take a look at Willie Schwabauer. He is the second in the back of this pack. He is looking very aggressive, almost forced it 3 wide just a lap ago. We'll see if he tries to force anything here. Oh, there was almost some contact in the 2 in front of this battle.
Now with side-by-side action here, you can take a look at the battle for the race lead down low, bottom right of your screens, and then of course you got the top this main battle here for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th raging center stage here. Goodness gracious, this is absolutely incredible, the sights we're seeing here at the third round of the 2021 Classic IndyCar Series season here at Cane Spear. The first of many over races. Big bobble there where Paulie Parton and sees him lose a lot of precious ground to Todd Novosaw just behind, who then gets pinched up towards the wall for turn 1.
It's almost like you're in a spot where it's so hard to pass on these tracks because there's no real groove that you prefer over the other. Yeah, you can go down low, and that might save you, or it might save you time in the corner, but it's going to cost you in terms of tire life. But on the outside, you get the run. So it's not necessarily the worst idea to go on the outside. But when you've got 2 cars in front of you acting like a wall, as Groscher and Egan have right here, and Vessa will have in a moment, I mean, that's what can you do? There's nothing.
So now the battle for 6th is single file now, leaving just this battle for the lead here to rage on between Lambert and Aiken. Now, it is worth noting as well that Vessa Olilia has also worked his way up into the thick of things here in that 96 car, starting to gain some ground. He had a bit of a bad run in qualifying, qualified 21st on the day, but now he's up to the top 5, and he's now threatening for these top spots as well as the battle rages on.
And with this battle raging on, you only have to think about where we might see, if we do get this long run here, if we might see some green flag pit stops. Now, usually it is around 57 or so laps of a full tank, but that can change based on dirty air, getting in the draft, all of that. So, I mean, what, we came back to green around lap 35. We might see, if it goes this far, we might see some pit stops happening around lap 90, if we get there.
Oh, not for Lambert. Lambert's going to have to come down much sooner than that, because remember, Felipe Lambert has not been... Oh, big loose moment there for Andrew Aiken. Nearly wipes out the entire top 5, and that splits up the battle for the race lead here in a big way. Andrew Aiken loses out on that battle here. That is really going to close up here. Battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th behind. And look at the cars in the background just starting to storm up on these guys. And now they're going to go 2, almost 3 wide to get around them. But as I was saying, Felipe Lambert has not pitted at all today yet, so he's got significantly less fuel. Oh, contact! Chin's in the wall!
Oh,
hard
boy.
crash in the wall, 1 up and over. Chin flipping wildly down the back straightaway. 1 more car upside down towards the inside wall. That was Andrew Aiken. Chin still barrel rolling all the way down. Caution is out for the 3rd time today, a quarter of the way into the race.
I've got to say, that was an 11 out of 10 barrel roll session from Joshua Chin. Chin says on the radio, anyway, he's upset. I don't think he's happy with what happened there.
I don't blame him. I don't think a lot of people would be very happy about what happened there. Take a look at the replay here. Andrew Aiken just comes across him and puts Chin into the wall, and that creates an almighty wreck on the back straightaway, and Joshua Chin went for the ride of his life.
That is so cool.
Tumbling side over side down the backstretch.
I got to say, that is so cool. Watch this ending. I know not to make light of that, but it's nice that we don't have to worry about any driver safety in sim racing. Unless you're using, could you imagine on a motion rig?
Well, it has happened. I think we got a couple people in this league that do run virtual rigs. We do know that people run virtual reality as well, and as someone that's gone flipping in VR, it's not the most pleasant of experiences.
It's fun. You don't like flipping in VR? I just don't like flipping in general when I'm in.
Take another look at this. This is a wide shot here. This will show a bit more of the broader angle. There you see Andrew Aiken, who got flipped upside down towards the inside wall as well. Went for his own little sliding. He body slammed the inside wall with the gearbox. And, wow. Chin just losing count of how many times he flipped over that car. Well, that is going to see one of the guys who is a favorite to win on the ovals here. He is going to be out of the fight here very early on. Joshua Chin will not be able to come back out after that one, no doubt.
Yep, no way. I mean, I don't see how a lot of the drivers will be able to come back from that. That was a massive incident. And I think that's an example of the jinx, the broadcaster's curse, because we were talking about fuel in a green flag run. But that was just, I mean, that's just a big pile of junk.
If you're just tuning in, welcome here to round number 3 of the Classic IndyCar Series here at Kansas Speedway for this 200-lap event. We're about 57 laps in, caution number 3 on the day. Now, if you have missed the first 50 or so laps of this race, do not fear, because it will be rebroadcasted in its entirety on ESTV just next week Sunday, I believe at about 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Might be 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's one of those two. Andrew Wood has spun on the apron in turn 1. Not sure what to make of that one there. I think it might have just gotten too much of a bootful on the exit of the throttle. You can see him stopped on the inside there, just in turn 1.
What is happening to drivers just spinning under green, or under yellow, I should say? He comes out, gets onto the apron a little bit, where it's kind of banked, and then it looks like he just wanted to get onto the throttle a little bit too much, had some of the field coming directly to him, wanted to stay on that lead lap, which I still don't get why he had to rush there at all.
Well, it is good to know that Irish did decide to give Andrew Wood his lap back. I thought for a moment that would trap him a lap down. Usually it does, so racing being merciful there to Andrew Wood, it would seem. Reminds me of when
Lightning McQueen, back in the 2006 Piston Cup, was able to stay on the lead lap out of the pits. You remember that?
Well, admittedly, he didn't spin.
Admittedly, he also has had instances where he did go into the grass, and to turn left, you have to turn right. You know what I mean?
It doesn't work in an IndyCar. I've tried. It don't work. It don't work, my friend.
I think
Trust
it does.
me. I have tried. I got bored one day. I tried to take an IndyCar around a rallycross track. It don't work.
My goodness. Okay, so how many cars are still on the lead lap? It looks like 23.
I'm still winning.
Yes, but the odds are not in your favor. Look at it this way. 7 cars already not on the lead lap. And we're only, just a little bit over half or a quarter of the way into this race? I mean, if odds are showing, there's only going to be like 4 cars left in this race.
Well, we know that's not going to be the case.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to be that bad.
This is true. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but you just need some drivers to say ka-chow and get on with it. Sorry, I'll stop.
Well, we'll hopefully here we don't start making rallycross courses on the infield, because like I said, it don't work. I've tried it. Turning right to go left at IndyCar doesn't work. You either turn even more left, or you turn way too much right and find yourself with a face full of catch fencing. Robert Brocher now in the race lead. He will take them down to the green flag, as Philippe Lambert did come down a pit last time by. He's off and away. Willis Schwarber will be trying to run him down. Not as good of a start as Lambert's been getting. Look at how small the gap is in comparison to how Lambert's starts have been.
Yeah, way smaller, and I think that's all due to Willie Schwalbauer taking a very nice look at when Robert Brocher took off and immediately followed him through there. We already have 2 abreast.
And that is the battle for 7th place. Johnny Garrett getting past Mike Gerlicka there. And you can see just behind Marshall Stanley is trying to get past Jan Hoffman. That's the battle that just swapped hands just up the road from them. They're also side-by-side for 3rd and 4th here. Partonen and Wilson going at it out there on the racetrack, with Josh Baird trying to pick up a free spot as well.
Just a little bit of a look at temperatures. The track temperature was at 97, just 97 degrees Fahrenheit, I should say, just as we saw the cloud coverage come into play. It's now at 93 degrees, so it's definitely cooling on track. Not necessarily an ambient temperature, which is 74 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, 1 car way down on the apron there. That's Andrew Wood, who had a big moment. Check that out. He just came out of the pit road. So, wait, he came down the pit road for a second time there. So
and he's going to 3rd.
From Wood.
Bet you he's going to 3rd right here. Nope, he's just getting up to speed. Lost that bet.
That's an interesting one there for Andrew Wood, who is now well down the timing orders. 18 seconds in the pit box that last time by for him. No idea. Oh, whoa!
And a disappearing act. A little bit of Houdini happening there.
And that got a bit close for comfort there in the back. I thought we were about to have caution number 4 with how fast those cars were darting down a lane.
Oh my goodness, we are seeing some ridiculous action here. Philippe Lambert is watching as a car in front of him is disappearing in front of our very eyes. That's Nate Michael.
And Nate Michael, I believe one of the rookies coming into today, he's got to try to maybe hope that he gets whatever connection issues it is solved. Partonen is into the grass in turn 3 as well from the 9th position. He's trying to hang on to it as well. This is about to cause a wreck here. Did they just crash? I can't tell Michael.
They almost did. They almost did. Philippe Lambert had to come way out of the throttle. I mean, they were as close as you can possibly get.
And Paulie Parton, as you can see there, is down to pit road this next time by. Not sure what happened there to Parton, and he started losing a lot of ground, though, as soon as he lost the battle here for the 3rd position. He was up there trying to fight it out here with Robert Grosh, but he just fell all the way back, and now he's in pit road, so don't know what happened to him. Liam Quinn in the 44 car. We're riding on board with him right now as he is, I believe, looking on board with a battle that's just up the road from him. And that is about to be watching there. Felipe Lambert, Vesa, Yuha Olilia, and Ethan Agan all running into grouping there. It looks as though Parton is going to come back out of pit road down on the bottom of 1 and 2. Here you see him just passing through there as the field darts their way by. A lot of drivers seem to be having troubles with pit road here. I'm still not sure what these guys are doing coming on down, but I noticed that Parton now has rear wing damage that he did not have, I don't believe, prior to that restart. So I'm not sure what is going on here with Parton.
Just to let you know, Nate Michael's now in the pits, so I wonder if this was because of any damage or he's just dealing with the internet issues.
I think it's going to be the connection issues that he's down there to deal with, because it is not at the moment looking very good for him as to whether he'll be able to stay in the race. And yep, he has just left the facility. So Nate Michael out of the race becomes our next retiree. They're still battling here big time. This is now the battle for the final podium position in 3rd. 3rd place all the way back to 9th, fighting for it.
20 cars now on the lead lap, so it's falling rapidly at this moment. Mike Gerlicka, look at this view he has, which way to go, because he is basically in the middle of a 4-way battle here with cars behind him for these top spots. I mean, again, you can't take it 3 wide in the corner. There is nowhere to go, but you just have to worry about them getting a little bit tight because of dirty air.
And they're going to get closer and closer every lap that passes on by. I mean, until it's at the point where they can't get much closer, and then they're likely going to take each other out. That's how a lot of the battles have gone so far today. Johnny Garrett still working the inside lane. He's now going to get past Jamie.
Look at that
Wilson.
dirty air. Look at that dirty air.
Oh, no! Mike Gerlicka nearly wiping out into the outside wall.
My goodness. He got out of the throttle just enough not to get any repercussions from that wall, but will we see 3 wide just in front of him? I mean, you can't write this stuff up right now. Josh Baird, he was thinking about going underneath Johnny Garrett to make it 3 wide. It was smart to go against it. I mean, have we seen any 3 wide on the front stretch or in the corners yet? I don't think so. I think once the first driver does that, it'll be day done.
We saw a little bit of it earlier on in the entry to turn 1, but Josh Baird was the smart driver there and ended up backing out almost immediately after they went 3 wide. So it's happened once, but you had someone that had some sense there. He decided not to go for it. 3 wide. I don't think it works. It just does not work here in the corners at Kansas Speedway. The track is just too narrow to realistically be able to make that work. So all this battle here as well, it is causing the lose time up to the top 2 in front between Willie Schwarbauer and Robert Grosjean. And right now, Schwarbauer is more just drafted off of Grosjean. He's not trying to go for passes or anything like that. He's just back there at the moment saving fuel for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're saving fuel for a good run, it's not necessarily a bad idea, because when you are saving fuel and there are fewer drivers in the race, it has a better chance of going green for a good amount of time. So not necessarily the worst idea in the world.
No, absolutely not. In fact, it can honestly be a bit of a race saver if you manage to play that strategy out right. So at the moment, you got the top 2 running together, and you got 3rd on back to the 9th position, all running in the train. You'll also have 10th on back to 15th that's running in the train, and then everybody else back from there is kind of running all on their lonesome. So those are the battles that you got kind of around the track at the moment. So from 1st to 15th are all in their own separate little groupings, and watch to see how these are going to play on now. Take a look at this battle here on the front straightaway. This is the third train line that we haven't really talked about a lot yet since that restart, but right here, this is where the action's at the moment here, Dylan.
Yep, and you know what? I'm very thankful that these drivers are just taking in all this action and providing them with some good on-air time. I think it's going to continue as long as they stay clean and fair, hard racing. Again, they spread out once they get onto the front stretch, or I should say the front curve, if you will, the D-shaped oval that Kansas is.
So close with Lambert in the midst of this one as well. You got Liam Quinn on the outside of him. Behind, you got Ethan Hagan, Andrew Saunders, Logan Simmons, and the 96 car of Vesa. So those are the 6 cars here that are running in this little trade here, and they are still looking to battle extremely hard for these positions here. Lambert still doing a great job on defense in this train, trying to keep Liam Quinn behind, but Liam Quinn is definitely wanting to take that lead around the outside lane of the train, though it looks like he might get it done. Not quite.
Yep, not quite at all. And as this battle still rages on, we have Ethan Hagan, our points leader, as we immediately get to. He is currently sitting in 12th place as he's watching a battle between Liam Quinn, Philippe Lambert, and a few drivers who are currently sitting behind him. So there's battles all over the track right now.
The battle for 10th continues. Lambert's still trying to fend off Quinn around the outside lane. This is not going to be an easy task, though. It is important to note as well that this kind of racing here, it's not over, because even after the 200 laps tonight, we're going to be seeing even more of it in about 2 weeks when we head around to Twin Rig Motegi as well. So we're going to be seeing 2 races like this back to back, and that type of action, that is exactly why I love series like this.
Yep, I agree with you. I don't think there is a better form of racing than open-wheel oval racing in the world. I mean, watching the Indianapolis 500 is an experience like no other, and it just does not give a full floor-to-floor action. It's great.
The top trainers kind of single-filed out a little bit here, so we're going to keep our eyes on this fight here as Quinn and Lambert continue to duke it out. You saw Ethan Hagan last time by led off down the back straightaway and fell all the way to the tail end of this train. So I think Ethan Hagan might be in fuel conservation mode here at this point in time, trying to maybe conserve a little bit more for the longer run, as it seems like now we're starting to set ourselves up for that.
Yep, I agree with you there. I still think that we're not done with some of the incidents. It's just going to continue at a slower rate. But, I mean, when you have all these cars going 215 miles per hour this close together, we're bound to have one little slip-up.
And one little slip-up is all you need. And you won't see it coming either. I mean, look at how fast we've seen some of the cars get sent around here before in this race. I mean, half the time, you're all of a sudden there, and about a quarter second later, you're going to be backwards, and you're going to have no idea what happened at all. All you know is your day is pretty much over.
Yep, and when your day is over, you know, that's not really a fun way to put it. Joshua Chin watching the race right now. My goodness, W's and R's were never my strong suit. But he's watching it right now in the chat. He just put a shrug. What is he supposed to do?
And it's so unfortunate for Josh Chin as well. He was having such a good run. He needed a good day as well to kind of put himself up further in the standings towards the points lead. He had not the best of days when he had the connection issues that saw him out of the race in race 1. Moved up 14 positions, though, with this victory at Long Beach. No dice for him here at Kansas. He'll have to have another go at it next week at Twin Rig Motegi. They're starting to pick it up as well in the second train here as we look up front to Jan Hoppen and Johnny Garrett started to duke it out on the track with Lucas Laville and Marshall Stanley waiting in the wings. Jamie Wilson, Josh Baird, and Mike Verlick have kind of fallen back from this train here in the battle for third, so they're kind of just hanging back now and I think waiting for something to happen up front.
We are 14 laps away from the halfway point. Caution! Oh no. Yeah, that's
Hagan.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. The points leader is done.
He had been dropping back, and Oh, I think that was one of those. Remember how we were just talking about how you're going to be fine 1 minute and not the next?
He just lost it.
Well, take a look at this. Just overcorrected. Oh, that is a hard hit into the outside wall.
Yep, and there's not much you can do about that. He is done for the day, and for a driver like Joshua Chin, who still wants to be fighting for this championship, that's something that, well, obviously he wants to beat him on track, but, I mean, it's not going to put a frown to his face.
Now, this is big for the championship standings. It's a bit early to be talking about it, but it is still big, because that is your points leader out of the race. So his 21 gap is going to be evaporated here. The closest driver back is Lucas LaVille. Right now, well, he's finding himself up in the 6th position. He's in prime position here to take over the points lead coming out of today. Troy Dolenchak would be right behind him, but Dolenchak not making an appearance today at the Oval.
Yeah, and that's something that, you know, you're just surprised with. But nonetheless, we have, look at this, look at all the drivers going into the pits. This is the perfect time for a wave around if you were to take it. And I do wonder if any drivers will take it. I mean, Art McEwen might be able to take it and get back onto the lead lap. He's currently still out on track. What do you do here? Do you just wait it out? I'm not sure if the wave around will actually even be in play. You know what? Ignore everything I said, because Philippe Lambert is still out on track right now. So wave around will not happen, I don't believe.
No, it will not. In order for you to get that wave around the pace car, you've got to find yourself way down in the order, and you've got to find yourself, in front of the current race leader. If the race leader is in front of you, though, you're not entitled to a wave around the pace car when lights are out. So there will be no wave around, no dice so far for the other guys, unless Lambert comes down this time by, which he does not.
Yep. So that's really unfortunate for some of the guys that wanted to get laps back.
I'm curious about this call here from Lambert. He's 32 laps on his stint. Why would you not come down to pit with everybody else? He's going to get swamped on this restart.
Oh, yeah. He's absolutely going to get swamped here. I don't necessarily think it was the best move to stay out even. I mean, he's got to think that maybe with his pit strategy it's going to help out, because I just don't see where that was necessarily the smartest call to make. I mean, he was kind of far back, okay? So he was far back. I don't know. Maybe he thinks that there's going to be another quick caution, but he'd still be coming out. I don't know. I really don't know. He wants to be off strategy, then let him be off strategy.
Shout out to Johnny Garrett, by the way. He's a driver that's a few spots back in 68. He had to serve a pit lane start today. So he started from the pit road, started dead last. He is up to second now.
Amazing. And remember, he was the next car that was going to be lapped at the beginning of the race. And this is all about just real positioning for him. He's done a very nice job in the race so far. And it's not like he can't have a chance to win here. I think anyone that is currently on the lead lap can win in this race. And by the way, we're at 19 now. You're going to lose.
Oh, how confident you are. Now, here's the other big thing here for Felipe Lambert. While he is on older tires, he also has several cars between himself and Johnny Garrett now. He's got Art McEwen and Paulie Parton in between him here. So he's got a bit of a buffer room here to work with before he really is in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just, I couldn't quite hear everything you were saying, but I do agree, because I was hearing Joshua Chin say something. I can't speak today. Joshua Chin was saying something over the radio. I always love hearing the banter between drivers. We can't necessarily share it all on air, but we can typically bring it to your attention.
Now, Felipe Lambert has been the king of restarts so far this race, but he's on 32-lap older tires than everybody else who are on complete fresh tires. So this could be big here for him as well. Track is starting to heat up as well. The sun has come back out to play, so the track's back up to 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind still blowing off to the southwest at about 8 miles an hour. We'll have to see how that impacts these cars. Big launch from Lambert again, and we are underway, and look at this! Garrett forced to kind of particular roadblock here. Lap cars in front of him. He can only watch as Lambert rockets away with the lead.
Yep, Lambert is just gone. There is no better start for him. Johnny Garrett, though, he's going to have to draft and maybe go down on the inside here and potentially get that position back.
He's definitely going to get past Art McEwen here, but it is quite a ways back. He's got himself 1.3 seconds all the way up to Lambert there, so it's quite a ways up the road. So Garrett's going to have to work if he wants to catch up to it and take that race lead away, even with him being on fresh tires.
Yeah, for sure. And with the fresh tires, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's going to make a huge difference, to be honest. I think the biggest game changer here will be if we do have a full fuel run, which I don't think we will have. I mean, I just don't see a situation where having slightly worn tires is really going to matter.
32 laps, wouldn't call that slightly worn. We'll have to see how it's going to play out for him, though, here. Take a look at this battle here, though. This is with Jan Hoffman, Willie Schwarbauer, Stanley, Baird, and more running up in front. They've got themselves a lap car and Paulie Parton. They're going to go 3 wide to the lap car, who's going to have to back out of this one in the middle. The other thing's caught up with Schwarbauer now. And now Parton is going to get forced up high. That was too close for comfort.
Settle it down, boys. We're not even at the halfway point here.
And Parton finally breaks clear of the lead lap traffic. Definitely a very, very close call for him. Jan Hoffman leads the train, battling for 4th.
I can't believe we had a 3 wide there.
It's worth noting as well that Vortex Emerson at the moment running 4th, 5th, and 6th at the moment, so they can really use that power there to keep Willie Schwarbauer and others behind him and try to fend them further and further off of the race leaders. Robert Brochu's in 3rd as well, trying to run down Johnny Garrett, but Garrett is now within sights of Lambert. So at this point in time, in terms of the top 5 or so, Vortex Emerson takes up about every single spot except 1.
Yeah. I mean, that's the mark of a great team, right? You always expect Vortex to really be competing for wins, competing for championships. That's no surprise.
Lambert has been caught by Johnny Garrett in the 68 machine. Now, how easy will Lambert make it for Garrett to get past in the battle for the lead here? Robert Groscher is still trying to close in as well. He's watching the battle for 4th just at the top of the screen as well, off of the turn number 2 and approaching halfway.
I just don't think you can really get a run if it's just 1 to 2 cars just battling it out. I mean, you obviously have Robert Groscher stalking and he's about to come back into this conversation. It's just, I don't think you can get a good enough run around the outside to kind of stay in 1st place. We're going to see if it's possible here. But look, he's still losing some time. He might get some momentum right here. And I think this is where the tires will matter. I don't know. It's going to matter just a little bit here. But 32 lap old tires, I don't necessarily think it's going to matter.
So Garrett up high, Lambert down low, Robert Groscher waited in the wings, hoping these guys continue to battle side by side so he can draft up there and help out his teammate to maintain the race lead. Lap 100 this next time by in just 1.5 miles. We'll be halfway. Garrett now having to go offensive here against Lambert, who is definitely big on the defense, blocking in the middle of the track here. Down through turns 3 and 4, and that is it. 100 down, 100 to go here from Kansas Speedway, halfway in round 3 of the 2021 Classic IndyCar Series season for round number 3.
This is some great side-by-side racing, and look at that pack just behind. I mean, that's where the battles are happening. I still don't necessarily think that they're going to break free of each other. Robert Groscher, to be honest, is going to be the one helped most by this because he has the advantage of having a 2-car draft to work from.
And one thing I've noticed as well is that the guys in the back, as we watch one car come into pit road just down there at the bottom, that's Art McEwen, the battle for 4th place, it's actually single filed out now. They're helping each other to draft on up because they realize that with the leaders side by side, if they stay single file, they're going to get up there eventually. It might take a while, but they'll get there.
Yep, it's extremely smart, and it's the way it's going to go. I think they can catch up in maybe less than 10 laps time. I mean, it's only a second.
That means they're definitely within the draft. Now, Groscher has caught the train, or has caught the battle for the lead. Now, what can he do here, you reckon, to help out his teammate Lambert? Because at the moment, Lambert is really struggling to hold on to that race lead there. Groscher's got to do something before Garrett eventually takes it.
Why would Groscher want to necessarily help out when he wants to take that position away?
True that. But I'd say this, it's partly better to be battling a teammate than it is to be battling 2 guys at the same time. I would say try to get Garrett out of the picture first, maybe muscle him back, and then you can work on getting the lead yourself.
Is it, though? Because you can't really go all elbows out when it's a teammate.
I don't know. You clearly didn't see it. I mean, the Indy 500 last year, remember that one? I mean, that was the whole reason why LaVille was able to really get the championship that time, was because some of his teammates went elbows out with each other.
Very true. Very true. Very fair. Elbows out. I mean, oh boy. You see them closing in on each other. By the way, that difference, as you see back here, it's not closing in as quickly because they're not all single file anymore. I mean, they're in the draft. They can get the draft and get going from that. They just are not in that big advantage anymore.
And Lambert has managed to break away from Garrett as well. So now it's Robert Groscher versus Johnny Garrett. A bit of breathing space now for Lambert, as his teammate will be trying to put Garrett behind him to allow for Groscher to maybe try to draft back up, but then he'll be able to challenge for the race lead as well. This is still kind of backing him up, though, into that battle for 4th place, which is slowly but surely starting to close in as well.
Some swapping of positions. Is it going to really matter? I mean, this difference, it's closed down to under a second. Actually, the last time they crossed the line was 8.5 tenths. Now it's to 8 tenths. They crossed the line here, and it's now to 7.5, now 6. My goodness, they are closing in at a mile a minute almost. Not literally, obviously.
Groscher takes the 2nd spot away from Garrett. Now Garrett's under fire.
Oh, no,
train. Oh, look out! Oh, Hoffman's in the wall. Hang on to it, Hoffman. Keeps it out. Hoffman's still trying to save it, and will this be a... Oh, this has to be a caution out. There it is. Caution flag is out. That was great. It's bad that Hoffman crashed, but good job on Hoffman to keep that out of everybody else. That saved the field.
Yep, it absolutely saved the field and destroyed his day. I think he would have... the first worry was just save his car. See, what happened... I have no idea why he didn't slow up there. Johnny Garrett looked to have been going much slower. He was coming down from the inside, so he wasn't up against the wall. So he got a worse, I guess, I wouldn't say necessarily start, but just he had a slower speed at the apex than everybody else. He was at 203 miles per hour, while Hoffman was closing in at 215. My question is, why do you just not, slow a little bit?
It's because Hoffman had Marshall Stanley right behind him. He really couldn't, because that's because of the point where Stanley's a teammate. Doesn't look good if you're looking at brake checking your own teammate there. So,
but he's not.
It comes back to that. I know he's not, but it comes back to that whole point earlier on in the race about how we had that other car that kind of spun it towards the outside wall when he came down across some of these dills, and we had been saying it's not the guy that hit him's fault because he had a car behind him. He could have slowed, or he'd get run over himself. Same situation there, except this time it was the car that had to slow up who got the bad end of it.
Right. Still, though, it's just a frustrating situation no matter what. You look back and you're like, I could have done this, I could have done that. That is racing, where even no matter how much it might have been somebody else's fault, there's always something you can do to avoid it in hindsight.
Robert Groscher inherits the race lead as Lambert comes down to pit road. And that will drop Lambert all the way back down to the 8th position. So a little ways now for Lambert to work his way up. But now he does have about 23 lap fresher tires than everybody else in the field. However, like you said, we saw how little that actually mattered when it came down to it between himself and Johnny Garrett. Once again, if you're just tuning into this broadcast today, welcome. We're just past halfway here for round 3 of the Classic IndyCar Series here in their 2021 campaign here at Kansas Speedway. Caution number 6, I believe, on the day at the moment. If you did miss the first half of the race, fear not, you will be able to watch the rebroadcast of the race on ESTV on Roku. Once again, that is going to be rebroadcasted live on ESTV on Roku. Now, if this happens to be next week, and I got to pull a good old Jeremy Clarkson here, and I have 2 takes here, one for the present and one for the alternate future. So, if you're watching us from the future and 1 week from now, well, welcome. We hope you're enjoying the race so far, and my goodness, what a race it has been so far.
It has been quite a good race. It's just unfortunate that we haven't seen too many green flag runs. I mean, that was the longest green flag run that we've seen.
That wasn't one of the longer green flag runs, wasn't it? I'm not sure if it was quite the longest run. I think the one between the... No, actually, I think you're right. That was actually the longest. No, not quite. The one just before that was a tad quicker, but from lap 60 all the way to 86. So we're definitely seeing the green flag runs are starting to become longer and longer in this race.
Yep, and that is because there are fewer drivers that can potentially get wrecked.
And I was right. This is caution number 6 right now on the day. I did not expect myself to actually get that right, but I just counted them out, and sure enough.
I never expect you to get the number correct, because, like you said, you're not great at math.
Okay, I know how to count. Okay, that's a bit harsh.
It's you said you couldn't do math, so it's a callback. It's a callback.
Pace car lights out. Gotta go green this next time by. Oh my goodness.
Still with that lead lap watch. 17.
Really? I thought I was up to 19 this last time by. Oh, so you're right.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. What do I
if
win?
only I had the bet. I don't know. You win.
Pride?
No, not even that's too good. Let's see. You win a singular clap.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I'll see how I'll be able to make that work, but we'll see.
I wish we had our cams on for this, because that I could have, or you put it in our chat, in our RaceSpot chat.
I'll find a way.
We'll find a way. Lights are off.
And it will be in the hands of Robert Groscher. Pace car's off. End of caution flag number 6 on the day. Groscher with the launch. We're back underway. Johnny Garrett trying to catch up as we take it back to the green flag on lap 114. And single file all the way on back to about the 11th position, but still nice and close, though, for the top groupings as well. On board with Jamie Wilson. He's right now in the battle for 5th and 6th, right behind Josh Baird.
Oh, man, they are as close as you can possibly be. 3 in a line right here. You just wonder if there is a bit of dirty air playing its part. The speed difference is going to lead to cars having to pull out of the throttle.
And it's just as close back as well to Logan Sims behind Wilson as well. So Wilson have to look at 2 places. Look at this. Bear got a bit twitchy there. Moved up the track, and that potentially might have given Wilson the run, but Wilson was not able to get the speed that he needed. Didn't have the momentum up the corner to make that one worse. And now he's got Simmons on his outside, but Sims will back out and get clear. And that actually causes this battle here to split up a little bit.
Yep, and I don't think it's going to be split up for that long, just because of how the draft is working right here. Yes, after a restart, we typically see cars go single file, but it bunches back together very quickly.
As can be seen, as Robert Groscher is now right in front of Johnny Garrett, who's about a tenth of a second behind. And they've got the battle for third and fourth between Stanley and LaVille. Vortex Simerson teammates there closing in just behind as well. And you can see how defensive Groscher started to be, trying to weave a little bit more than he would in an attempt to break the draft. But that ain't going to work, though, in these cars. And look at this, Garrett with the run.
Will Garrett be able to make the move work? Yes, it looks it. He's not clear yet, but Robert Groscher with the advantage on the outside. He's going to try and keep his advantage. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, though. And maybe a little bit of a slide job in a way coming up.
Good grief. That outside lane is just so powerful. And even as Groscher gets clear, watch here is now he's not clear at all, as even when you think you're clear, you're really not, because look at the overspeed that Groscher has on Garrett down the front straightaway. That outside lane, you know how to pull it right. It can be your best friend in a race like this. Now, first on back to 8th, all in the train.
This is some incredible racing. It's going to even get bunched up some more. Oh, just don't make a mistake here, boys.
Groscher trying to go up high. Once again, they're trying to take away the race lead, but Johnny Garrett is so strong on the bottom side as well. He just has all the speed on entry. It's where the exit comes in and counts. But here's the thing as well. That exit could be all that Groscher needs. He might not get clear for the next corner, but if this comes around at the end of the race and it's like this, it's worth noting. That start-finish line, it is an advantage to 1. It's halfway down the front, and halfway down the front, Groscher's ahead every single time.
Oh my goodness, they're just, I don't know where there is room for Marshall Stanley right now, as there is just this 5-pack. It's almost like the flying V from the Mighty Ducks. You cannot get them separated.
And even when we thought Groscher was clear, Garrett had him on the entry again. And look, they're almost trying to bump draft each other here. And I can tell you right now, that is not going to work if these guys start trying to bump draft each other. That is definitely a stock car thing. And even bump drafting here in stock cars is a little bit of a questionable maneuver as well. So first on back to 8th, all in this train. Check that 9th. Golica has entered the picture as well in the dark blue car, just barely in the background there. And then, of course, you have Liam Quinn at the Chimera machine. Turquoise and white trying to close in behind as well.
I don't know which spot is the more precarious one to be in. Do you want to be on the inside? Do you want to be on the outside? Because if there is a mess, I mean, does it really matter? If there's a checkup, you kind of want to be on the outside in a way because you can go a little bit higher, but how about if there's a checkup going into a corner? I have no idea. I think it's just a matter of what is the available spot that gets you a few extra yards right now. What a shot.
This is about as tight as this top trend has been all day long. They really have not been this close. It's getting really tight there with Logan Simmons on the inside line. And now the whole train starting to weave across the track here as people try to give themselves a little bit more room to work with. I think Garrett just now finally managed to break clear. And he is no longer going to be side by side with Robert Groscher, but heads up because Groscher is still trying to close on in. And they're so close for third as well. It's so close. You gotta hold your breath here to make sure that you can. You gotta hold your breath here because the slightest error is going to create the biggest of wrecks here. Probably the biggest one we will have seen all day long. Oh, and I don't like what I saw there.
No,
Garrett got 2 tires onto the apron.
Johnny, my boy, move. Don't do that. Don't do that. There's just no place to really get back on. Oh, look at that, sweeping down to the inside here on the back stretch. Is going to gain potentially 1 position here.
That's Marshall Stanley making up the pass on Simmons.
Did you see that? Willie Schwabauer almost came right together with, I believe, Lucas LaVille. I mean, again, it looked just as close as it was for Baird when he hit or tapped the wall very early in the race.
I think they did make a bit of contact.
They absolutely did. How did they not get collected in a wreck there? I have no idea.
Well, I think that's caused the train to kind of single file out here because now there's a little bit more sense here. No sense in going double filing here. You still got nearly 75 laps to go in this race. But my goodness, what a battle that was. And that's what it's going to be like if this train stays the way it is, and I hope it does. That's what that race is going to look like at the end of the race and more.
I'm still reeling back. I didn't want to create any extra havoc for this, but these cars are just, the drivers are just, there's no barrier, there's no bubble. It's just really get as close as you can possibly get as long as it gives you an advantage.
What can I say? These guys are some of the best when it comes to the Dallara IRL5s and how they run. I mean, these guys are just so strong at what they do. No fear at all from Robert Groscher as he really pinches Johnny Garrett down to the bottom, making sure Johnny Garrett does not get a run out of the corner at all. But look at this in the trial, but Garrett's still pulling ahead here. Groscher at this point is trying to really pinch Garrett down to make sure he can't diamond off the corners. That's not going to happen, though, as Garrett gets clear once again. Oh, but not quite, because here comes Groscher back on the high side.
This is just unreal racing. I almost just want to... I don't even know what to say about these drivers. They're just going without any fear right now of repercussions, and that's what we want to see. 70 laps to go in this race, though. We still have so much time, 105 miles to go.
105 miles to go. Taking right on board with Groscher here, and as they cycle in for turn 3, look at how close Groscher's going to try to pinch that inside lane down right over there on the right rear wheel of Johnny Garrett and nearly clipping the front wing Gieson as well. Once again, double filed out all the way back to the 9th position at the moment. Make that 10th, so the top 10 all in a big train here. If these guys catch lap traffic here, if I was lap traffic, I would just go to the apron and brake, because these guys, you do not want to find yourself 3 wide with this group at the moment. Yeah,
and that would be Philippe Lambert, who would be the next car that would be lapped here. Again, by the way, 16 on the lead lap.
Dang it.
The top 10 are all together. The top 10 are all together by like 7/10 separating them. Unbelievable.
Stanley got blocked big time there by Garrett, but look at Stanley with the run up the inside this time round. How often do we see the inside lane getting a run up through these corners here, but he's going to make that one work. Marshall Stanley now goes to the point for the first time today.
And he just got a big run and moved to the inside. He has Robert Groscher in the draft right behind him. Johnny Garrett on the outside going right up against the wall, trying to get the biggest curve he possibly can to get all of that momentum. I don't know if it's going to help. He's kind of left stranded out there on the outside. Oh, but look who's coming with him.
Oh, one car gets muscled up. That's Josh Bear way out of the draft. That almost puts Skurlik into the outside wall, I think. But Josh Bear got a bit tight in the middle of the corner and maybe got a bit loose, and that really scared Baird up, and that is broken apart. 8th, 9th, and 10th in the train now as they're going to drop back. If these guys still side by side in front, they might be able to close back in, but that was a close one.
That was way too close for comfort, and again, it's like we're saying, all it takes is one little wiggle, and something bad can happen.
Blocking all the way down to the middle of the track. The one car, even 2 tires on the apron, that was Groscher, and then watches up, nearly cleans out Logan Simmons, who gets the run around for 3rd on the outside lane. Trying to go 2 for 2 here. Simmons goes around the outside, and Garrett now trying to make fast. Groscher nearly puts Mills in the outside. Well, what is going on?
Drivers, we still have a lot of race to go. I mean, there's no need for all this craziness right now. If I'm any of the drivers that wants to just get a good points haul right now, I would just go drop a little bit back. Or not. I don't know. I don't know where is the right place to go. NASCAR is at Talladega today. This feels like it right here in Kansas.
This is reminding me of the 2015 Auto Club race at IndyCar when it was one of the most thrilling IndyCar races, in my opinion, of all time. There was just non-stop action, lap after lap after lap after lap. This really reminds me exactly of that race because this has just been non-stop action from lap upon lap.
Yeah, it's some great racing, and you know what? When you have great racing and you have close racing, as we see maybe 3 wide in the corner for one of the first times, then you've got some You've got a great product to show off. In the Classic IndyCar Series, I personally love it a little bit more on ovals than road courses just because of how these cars handle on them, but it's just some great racing.
Oh, let's be honest. Just about everybody loves IndyCars more on ovals than on road courses, and it's for this
Fair.
exact reason here.
Very fair.
I mean, these guys are still hitting 213 miles an hour in the corners, let alone down the front straightaway, where they're hitting up to sometimes 220 miles an hour, and that's still 20 miles an hour off with their top speed, which is 240! Close for the lead off the corner as White Boys decides that it doesn't want to work anymore. Johnny Garrett trying to get the outside run still.
This is just unbelievable. Not much analysis there, but it's just... How are these drivers dealing with the nerves?
I don't think they are. I think they're just letting instinct take over at this point. Oh my gosh, Garrett just chopping off Logan Simmons, fitting into the smallest of gaps, and now trying to go for the outside run around Stanley once again with 59 laps remaining. I think we're both at a loss for words in this moment because this is just absolutely insane. It's not like Long Beach where we at a loss for words because of how little action there was. This time it's of how much action there is. Look at Simmons now with the outside run. As Stanley really wants Garrett down. Now Simmons gets chopped off on the outside line.
How these drivers have not just completely lost it is beyond me. I'm not even sure exactly what to say, except will they have to go for some green flag pit stops?
I don't think they're going to be able to make it back to green flag pit stops. There's no way they can, not if they keep racing this hard, they're not even going to make it to green flag pit stops. I mean, this pack of the moment, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yes, it is, and it's pretty awesome. It is some pretty awesome action right now.
I know, which means that it really pains me to say that it's only going to go on for so long where somebody makes a very costly mistake, and that's going to really put a lot of the action out of the fight tonight. This is the biggest train we got around the track at the moment. It really is like the biggest battles. This is where all the action is on the track at the moment as, wow, Logan Simmons got a terrible run through 1 and 2. That allows Stanley and Garrett to get a little bit further out in front. This train is starting to split up here a bit, it would seem.
Yeah, it's definitely doing that, but I only think it's going to happen momentarily. There will still be bunching up that happens. It's just the nature of this draft.
And now they're catching Ron Carpenter as well, just up the road, who does have that damaged rear wing still from his crash earlier today. So, oh, hello, what's this? Lucas Laville down to the pit road, it would seem. The driver's movie does say if you want to go to pit road, you have to make that mistake in turn 3. So Laville, the first driver down, I think what he's going to do is he's going to come on down, and then he's going to take the full up on gas, and now he knows he's going to be good on fuel to the end.
And he knows that all of these drivers would need to go into the pits as well for the wave around. So I think he's going in. And Robert Groscher is going in as well. So yeah, pit stops happening right now.
Liam Quinn follows, so green flag pit stops underway for the first time today here at Kansas Speedway, and just in time too. They've caught Rod Carpenter, and that's about 4 cars fewer that Carpenter's got to worry about taking him out here as the field continues to dart through on the bottom side. Now, who's going to come in this time around? Will we see anybody else come in this time around? It was Vortex Sim Racing that was the first driver to bring it down. Marshall Stanley, race leader, coming on down to the lane. Meanwhile, Willie Schwarbauer runs over the current race leader of Johnny Garrett. Big front wing damage on the 65. That could be a game changer.
My goodness, you have to be careful here, but obviously it's going to prove to be impossible for all the drivers involved as Robert Groscher is coming out right now of the pits, and as soon as these guys come in. So I think that when Laville and all of them start to come in, we'll see the replay right here with the 65. Ah, man, that's just a lack of communication right there from Johnny Garrett.
How did Garrett not spin out there?
I have no idea.
Either on the 68.
That is that's a problem with exactly where you're supposed to go in. And if I am any of the league organizers, you got to look at that with Johnny Garrett, because he did not get onto pit lane until already into turn 3.
Well, at the moment, it's showing that we don't even have about 4 cars on the lead lap. I'm not giving you that clap yet, though, here, Dylan, because
Okay.
you and I both know that it's just the pit stops. It's all going to cycle back through.
Fair. I'll allow it.
Allow me to casually change the rules here, and I'm going to change my bet and say we're not going to have 12 on the lead lap here.
Okay, you can do that. You can do that.
Nah, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that guy.
Trust me, I have the footage to prove otherwise. It would just add more fuel to the fire. Speaking about fuel to the fire, these drivers are getting fuel right now, and they're good for the rest of the race.
So at the moment, Rossman, the race leader, that will not last though, because these guys still have to come down the pit road yet. This big train here we're watching kind of dart their way here through the corners. You got Andrew Adair Saunders, Andrew Wood, Stefan Rossman, and Cody Luke all in this train here. And this means that Rossman will officially lead a lap on the day, but we all know it's not going to cycle out to be that way. I think these guys are more running out the tanks until they're dry. Now, if a caution happens now, though, it traps all of those drivers that just pitted the lap down, and the whole race gets turned on its head. So right now, the one that they don't need is a caution.
Yeah, but even if there is a caution, there's not that many drivers that were on the lead lap that they'd have to really worry about. They'd still have to work their way through around 13 drivers to get back up to the front, but I don't think it's going to be that huge of a deal. Now, the drivers who are currently on the lead lap from first to fourth, now a caution would work perfectly for them, but it wouldn't hurt too much if there's not one for them. Because of the amount of cars, it just doesn't matter as much.
And this is all going to mean the racing is going to kind of die on off now at this point in time. The guys that are running out in front, not nearly as close as they were before. I see Hans Pikkinen and Todd Nobusaw kind of running together, but then in terms of drivers that are actually battling together, I got Simmons, LaVille, Stanley kind of running in the train there. Quinn and Groscher are together. Lambert's by himself, but he's being caught by Wilson and Schwarbauer behind. And then Gerlicka and Baird are just a short ways back from them. So that 10-car train that we saw duking it out ever since that restart has really fallen away with those pit stops.
Yeah, it definitely has, and I do wonder if we're going to actually see it again. I think we will. I think it's only a matter of time before we see this pack of drivers go into the pits. Once that happens, I think we'll start to see some punching up again. It's just, right now it's just waiting. It's just waiting to see what happens here. Andrew Adair Saunders, I mean, he is on the lead lap right now, but he's, I don't know, he's close to getting swallowed up by Andrew Wood and a bunch of other drivers like Stefan Rossman is going to lap him. So we'll see. We'll see. Right now, it's just about waiting for them to go into the pits, the top 4.
And those drivers, again, for the top 4 are Stefan Rossman, Cody Luke, Hans Pikkinen, and Andrew Adair Saunders. Lucas LaVille got by Simmons that last time by there, and he managed to kind of put himself up another spot in his own little train there, but it's still a long way up where he wants to actually take over the race lead. I think we'll expect to see the other guys that are running out there on the track at the moment. They're probably going to be coming in here within the next 10 laps or so.
Yep, absolutely. I think they definitely will start to come in then, and from that point on, I think we're going to see some more bunching up.
"42 laps remaining as we continue to wait here for this field to come on down to pit road. Let's take a quick ride. Let's take a ride aboard with one of the rookies here today. We'll take a ride aboard with Cody Luke here for some RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Caution flag is out. This is a game changer here. Liam Quinn upside down in turn number 3 and 4 with Robert Groscher after the two of them tango bingo, both of them flipped upside down. This has changed the whole outlook of this race, Dylan.
Yep, absolute game changer right there. I didn't quite see what happened, but I mean, that just happened out of nothing.
And that is going to trap a lot of cars a lap down here. They might be able to get the wave around to get themselves back out there, but good grief, that is a bad situation there. There you see the hard crash. Both cars slammed the outside wall in 4 and got kicked up and over.
What happened? Oh, and Cody Luke almost just ran into Stefan Rossman.
They were checking it out for the pace car. What happened there was Liam Quinn was kind of going to the inside, and Robert Groscher had a bigger run on him than I think he expected. So he tried to go on the outside as Quinn actually checked up in front of Robert Groscher. Don't know why, but after the initial contact, which was nose to tail, Liam Quinn just got unsettled and slammed Groscher up at the outside wall. But the rest of the field out that did not come down to pit is going to come down pit road, and that will do it for green flag stops. They're going to be staying out there to the end, so if that train picks up again, well, you know what that means.
Yes, sir. That means I've won our bet. But it also means that we're going to see some great action to wind down this race. You hope it's green for the rest of the way. I just have a feeling that, I don't know. Joshua Chin saying Liam's VR crashed.
Oh, that would do it. That would definitely do it. If it crashes, it's like your screen going black. You can't see.
Right.
And he obviously wouldn't have known that it's on the outside. So that is, oh dear.
Wow. I mean, that's just terribly unfortunate.
Well, I did say you'd get your one clap. It was 15 or less. We're down to 4. So even if I move my back down to 12, I still would have lost. So, well, I'm going to give you a good old clap right about here. There's your clap.
I didn't hear a single thing.
Oh, really? Well, let me try it again. Got it that time?
Yeah, I did.
There we go.
Thank you very much. I mean, this race has been intense. I'm surprised so many drivers were able to still stay in on this race, even though they are some laps down. I think that's been impressive. It's a nice points haul regardless.
So this is the 8th caution on the day, I believe, and now we see some of the other cars starting to come on down, like Don Day, Andrew Wood is back down. Philip Lambert is back into the lane as well, interestingly enough. So this will be interesting here to see how this is going to kind of play out, but this is definitely good news here that those guys did come down to pit, because it means that guys that were laps down are going to be able to work their way back up. But Stefan Rossman is officially still going to be in the race lead, and I believe he will still be the control car by the time I take that green flag in just a couple laps.
You know, I wonder, now with everyone being back on that similar strategy, you really have to throw that out the door. I think we've proven that those tires that were 32 laps old at one point did not really matter in terms of the battle. This is just going to come down to staying out of any danger and being the fastest car. That is literally it now.
I'm thinking it'll be about 33 laps to go when we take the green flag here. And that is not a lot of time at all. I mean, that's one of the longer runs that we've had so far in the day would be 33 laps, but that's still not nearly as long as this last one we've had. And that's about as long as that train was all together for as well.
Right. And, wow. This is going to be a wild finish here.
It will be 33 to go when the green flag is taken, and now a good portion of the field will be waved around the pace car, and they're going to have to scramble to catch the tail end of the field and get themselves restacked up before the end of this race. Stefan Rossman is still going to be in the race lead. He is just now going to be catching the tail end of the pacing car. Everybody else getting waved around. About 15 drivers in total getting wave arounds there. I was way off on that one. About 9 drivers getting wave around.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, wait a second, what? That's a ton. But yeah, you know, it's a pretty crazy race so far. Wouldn't have been surprised if there were 15 getting a wave around, just because why not?
The pace car is in turn number 3, and we're getting set to go back racing here. The guys that got those wave rounds are just now catching up to the tail end of the field. This is going to be a very intense run to this race. 11 cars left on the lead lap. So who's going to take the victory in this one? At the moment, Rossman is in prime position here to be the upset winner. The green flag is going to drop. He really holds the field there. We're off in the way. Some guys try to jump the start. That means they're double file already. And the run down the Woodstart finish line. One car's getting squeezed into the wall. Johnny Garrett makes a Garrett pass from the outside of Dante and nearly scrapes the wall in the process. He went by. Thought he might have scraped the wall, as a matter of fact. One car clipping the apron. That's Rob Carpenter trying to bend up. No, that's time. No, it's not going to spin around.
No.
On top of his Chimera car, Wilson. They
Caution?
saved that.
What?
No, they do not. How do you save that? 4 cars off the ground on top of another. No caution, and they save it.
What?
Car also on the outside wall, as Logan Simmons now gets put to the wall as well from Rod Carpenter.
What just happened?
Everything. The answer is yes.
Yeah, I don't... What? How did he save that? He was literally on top of him. What?
I don't know, but we'll take a ride on board, and this might show it here. Look at this! Fully on top of him, and just... It doesn't get much simpler than that when it comes to wheel work, does it?
No.
Oh, heads up, Simmons just spun around at turn number 3. He was coming down to pit road with Rod Carpenter. Now he's stopped on the apron of 3 and 4 just now. Got to tow back to pit lane. Still no caution.
He's back on pit lane, and now we're only going to have 10 drivers on the lead lap. You're way off.
Oh, my. And Andrew Adair Saunders struggled as well. This is the replay of Simmons' spin. He had made contact and got put into the wall by Carpenter about 1 lap prior to this. Just clipped the grass and away it went. A very messy restart, though, and that all started because Stefan Rossman really held the field. He waited for iRacing to throw the green flag, which you are allowed to do. The rest of the field was so used, though, for the guys to just jump the start right away as soon as the pace car was off that they all started going when the leader hadn't.
Right, and that's just how it goes. Go until the whistle, right? That's what you hear in all of sports. As we see, 3 wide for 3rd place. Smartly comes out of that.
And that is Lambert, who is a lap down. That's a lap car trying to go 3 wide through this field as well. He's trying to get a lap back, so the Lambert caution comes out. He has a shot at the window, but this is a very treacherous thing to be doing here. Lambert has got to be smart about this. He's a lap car, so if he causes a crash here, it can be a big consequence here. Look at this. Rosman's trying to block him, trying to keep Lambert behind him. He does not want that lap car getting to the point and back on the lead lap.
You know, it's fair. It's fair to get back onto the lead lap in this way.
Just be careful you don't take out the field in doing so.
Right. I believe this is Cody Luke's first race, correct?
I believe it is, yes.
So, Cody Luke, Andrew Adair Saunders, Stefan Rossman, Hans Pikkinen, they've all never won a race in the Classic IndyCar Series.
And they're the best ones to do it now.
Unbelievable.
Lambert goes high around Rossman, while Garrett tries to make the look around Saunders, potentially for the lead. No, Garrett's also a lap car. And Johnny Garrett is also a lap car here, trying to get a way through as well. So this is big news here. A couple of lap cars in the midst of your front runners here, and they're trying to get laps back.
You know what else? All the drivers except for Lucas LaVille, who are currently on the lead lap in the top 10, have never won a race. We're going to see a first-time winner unless it's LaVille.
And LaVille is a very long way back at the moment, so it would be a big ask for him, I think, to be able to really come through and take this win here. Oh, well, he's now worked his up into this front field, though. That is worth mentioning as well. He's right there, 3rd car on the outside line. They're in that train. But there's still a ways to go yet before he can really catch up to Andrew Adair Saunders and take the victory there.
You saw there was a driver way up the track. Was that Josh Baird?
I'm not sure if it was. All I know is Garrett is really pinching Saunders down. Again, this is not for the race lead. This is for just to get a lap back. The lead is actually all the way back at Hans Picken. And the two cars battling right now with Saunders, they're both lap cars.
That's amazing to me. I mean, you totally get why it's happening. I mean, if I am, yeah, I know. If I'm Andrew Adair Saunders, I let them go by. I don't want to be fighting with them right now.
I mean, in all fairness, Saunders is kind of pulling away from Picken and behind him too. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable riding along with all of these guys right here. The clouds once again begin to descend. Oh no! Big crash! Look out in front of the field! Huge crash there! One car gets sent to the moon! Johnny Garrett with a tremendous accident and still flipping his Cody Luke down into the infield grass. The rookie out of the race, he was getting set to maybe go for a win, and that was the two lap cars that tangled together, and one of them got launched straight into outer space. Did not know NASA had an IndyCar program. I told you I felt uncomfortable. Yeah, there was no reason for Johnny Garrett to come down right there. That was just bad. Talk about going out in style, though. Take a look at the replay here onto the front straightaway. That was a bit silly. That was silly. Now watch Garrett here. That was ridiculous. Just gets launched. And there's Cody Luke in the orange car. He just turned over from the wheel grip as he was skating across the infield as well. Wow. You know, I like to kind of look at the chat, what's going on there and everything. Jeez. And I really... It was like a Beyblade there. I know. I'd love to know what the chat thinks about that. Stefan asking, Hans never won a race, 46 races and no wins in the Classic IndyCar Series. And he has a fantastic shot here. Wow. I'm at a loss. That was something else. Well, we do have a couple of people here that are ready to give us a bit of a chat here, so, well, I'll tell you what, while we're under caution here, let's start up and we'll bring up first the points leader who, unfortunately, might not be the points leader at the end of this race. Ethan Hagan joins us up here in the broadcast booth. Ethan, unfortunately, not the day that you were hoping to have.
No, I mean, the ovals were my weakness last season, and unfortunately strike me again, but hoping to be better at Motegi in 2 weeks.
Well, how do you think things are going to be looking out for your championship hopes here? I mean, this is obviously going to be a big blow to the 21-point gap you have built yourself up over the first two races. Do you think you'll be able to recover that gap again when we get around to Motegi?
I sure hope so, but right now, I just got to avoid the wrecks most likely. I mean, I have never done Motegi before, so it could be interesting.
And then before I let you go here, Ethan, anybody you'd like to just shout out for us here today? Sorry, we don't have the most amount of time here in the world.
Okay. Just my family for supporting me, and just like thanks to everybody at Classic IndyCar and RaceSpot for putting this together. And yeah.
And thank you, Ethan, for taking the time to come up and give us a chat here today. Best of luck next week.
Thank you.
That was Ethan Hagan, the current points leader coming into today. Had some unfortunate struggles earlier today. We're going to bring up the other... Oh! Wow, okay. Well, I was going to say let's bring up Robert Groscher, but Andrew Adair Saunders... You're kidding me. Technical failure, question mark. Not sure what to make of that one here. What in the world? That is 3 wrecks under yellow. That looked like a hardware failure. He was still... No. What in the world? This has been a day of suspect driving. Well, with that out of the way, Dylan, we got Robert Groscher joining us up here in the booth. You're standing by with him. Yeah, we are standing with Robert Groscher. Robert, it's been a weird day in general for this race, but take us from your perspective. What happened at the end for you there?
Not sure if Robert can necessarily hear us. You got us, Robert? All right. So sometimes interviews don't always go the way we expect them to go, but nonetheless, we'll jump back to live action here. How did that happen? Jaws dropped. Jaws have been dropped a lot.
Well, here's the thing. Saunders was kind of bouncing off the rev limiter all the way down the front straight. It kind of shifted between, I think, second and first. And then he shifted back into second, and then just hit the gas. And then just decided not to use the brakes on his way back down to the infield.
I think he just knew it was over at that point.
Don't even know what to say to that one.
Well, I don't know either. This is unbelievable. This race has been so weird. And if I am anybody right now in this field that is not in the top 2, top 3, I take tires. Your worst spot is going to be 8th.
16 to go. We take the green flag. Hans Pickenen, the control car. The pace car is down to the lane. Oh, wheel spin there for Pickenen. Almost sends him into the outside wall. We're back on the way though as he gathers it up. LaVille with another good launch from himself. While the rest of the field starts to thunder off behind. Rossman 3rd. Stanley 4th. Schwarber 5th. Baird 6th. And then from there, cars lap down behind.
Willie Schwalbauer trying to make a move on Marshall Stanley.
Oh, problems for Rossman.
Oh,
He's coming down to pit road.
What happened to him?
Potential speeding penalty, maybe. Not sure if he came down to pit this last time by. He did not, so no idea what's going on here for Stefan Rossman, but that is going to effectively put him out of contention for a win tonight if this goes green.
It's going to be 7 cars on the lead lap.
LaVille going back to the point. The only driver so far in this top 10 that has won a race, and he's trying to win himself another one. Hans Pickenen, can he run him back down for the lead?
Hans Pickenen is in a very nice spot right here, but so is Lucas LaVille. I don't know. I'd still obviously prefer to be LaVille. You get the choice of lane and where you want to go, but you're kind of like a sitting duck if there is potentially, if Marshall Stanley, Willie Schwalbauer can work together to catch up to you guys.
And that's going to be the big ticket question here is, will these guys work together? They do still have the draft, and LaVille is certainly not safe at all. Coming to about a dozen laps to go this next time by. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's still a case of anybody's game. If Pickenen can get a good run, you never know. These 3, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they need to stop fighting each other, and they need to find a way to get up there to the front. They need to work together here if they want to get themselves a shot at the win.
I have no idea what has gotten into some of these drivers today.
It's been an interesting race for sure. I will say, in the later stages especially, definitely more interesting than the Long Beach race was, where it was mostly just single file racing the entire course of the time. That's why I love oval racing so much. It only picks on up as the race goes on.
I mean, you have to think here. Oh, hitting the wall. It looked like it was Josh Baird.
It was. No damage for Baird, it looks like, so he approaches relatively unscathed, but look at how much they've closed in here. Lucas LaVille, whose lead is once more under fire.
Willie Schwalbauer, Josh Baird, Marshall Stanley, and Hans Pickenen, the challengers to Lucas LaVille. Will LaVille get back into this championship hunt, championship contention? I mean, I think this would put him up top.
Lucas LaVille, what can he do here? Marshall Stanley is a teammate. Do the teammates go side by side in a run for the win? We saw that be a deciding factor in the Indy 500 just last year. Not quite the finale here today, but I wouldn't put it past these guys. When it gets under the last lap, there's no such thing as teammates.
Hans Pickenen fell all the way back from second, now sitting in 5th. A good half a second behind LaVille. Not sure what happened there. Willie Schwalbauer, or excuse me, Mike Gerlicka has all of a sudden caught up to this entire group of drivers.
It's because of all the side-by-side battling. He's just able to sit back, watch it all, pick his line carefully. And now look at this. Bear trying the outside line, but bobbles greatly as he tries to get out there. Under 10 to go. The clock is running out. It's crunch time out there on the track. LaVille blocked against his teammate Marshall Stanley. Bear has to go high to try to get the run around the 25.
You imagine if we go to 5 to go, then the next caution would end the race.
Marshall Stanley trying to get the run. No green-white checkers in this series for IndyCar racing. It's just, if it ends with a caution, that is how it is. LaVille chops down across Stanley as Stanley continues to try to fend off the field behind for his teammate.
I don't know if it's necessarily trying to block off the field for his teammate. I think it's just trying to block off the field for for himself. I just want to see two drivers fighting. Oh, man.
I don't know. A good 3-wide finish never hurt anybody.
Yeah, not at all. And Willie Schwalbauer, he is right there. He is right there. Will he get the help, though? Marshall Stanley has his right elbow out, pushing him a little bit higher than he'd like to be.
5 to go. Next caution ends the race. So at this point in time, a caution is what LaVille wants. It's what he needs to secure a victory here today. Right now, that's the last thing that everybody behind him wants, so they all want to go have a run here at this win. 4 to go.
My, oh my. If we do get to the final lap and there is an incident, we'll stay green. That's just how it works here in iRacing.
Marshall Stanley still having to go defensive here against Lucas LaVille. He might not try to be desperate until it's the very last lap. They all want this race to finish under green here, but how desperate do you get when the white flag hits? Just 3 to go, 4.5 miles left in the race.
When you've got 3 drivers all right there, they can see the lead, they can smell it, and Marshall Stanley, Schwalbauer, and Baird, they can get their first win.
And look at this. Schwalbauer's not giving up. He's still trying to pull the outside line, but no luck for him. He's going to have to slot back in with Josh Baird, who lets off to let him in. Baird is starting to slow.
What happened?
Does he have a problem here?
Is he out of fuel? Or is he... What happened there?
No idea, but that means it's a 3-horse race now out in front. 2 laps to go. 2 miles left in the race here as they hit the back straightaway. Look at how far down the apron LaVille tries to defend as Schwalbauer continues to try to fight the outside line. Coming around now for the final time in the race. Race is official. White flag's out. It's ending this lap no matter what happens. Marshall Stanley trying to get the run down the inside line. Will he make the pass with leader? Will he block for his teammate? Lucas LaVille continues to fight down to the apron. Marshall Stanley closing with the draft. Closing. Schwalbauer side by side of the outside line for second place. Through turns 3 and 4, though, Stanley will not be able to get there in time. Lucas LaVille will come over the final corner. He is once again a race winner, and he wins it here at Kansas. Marshall Stanley picks up second place, and Schwalbauer finishes out the podium with Baird and Gerlicka having to settle for 4th and 5th behind him.
You want me to say it, Nolan? That was a joke.
Wow.
That was obvious blocking for the teammate.
What a finish.
My goodness. Well, it was
Lucas
a really...
LaVille.
Yep, it's Lucas LaVille. It was great racing from him. He deserves the win. But Stanley multiple times came out of the throttle there and was just purely blocking.
Sometimes that's how teammates tend to go. That's team racing for you. Lucas LaVille burns it down on the front straightaway after taking a well-earned win here in the Classic IndyCar Series. Worked his way up from 22nd on the grid to come and take the first position and victory after a hard-fought 200 laps of racing. Let's go to the post-race results. Lucas LaVille with the victory. His teammate Marshall Stanley in second. Iconic Motorsports in third and fourth. Mike Gerlicka is in the 5th position. Hans Pickett is in 6th. Jamie Wilson, the last car in the lead lap, in 7th. Leap Lambert, Don Day, and Stefan Rossman rounding out the top 10. In 11th, it is going to be Todd Novosad with Andrew Wood in 12th. RBQ in the 13th. Rod Carpenter 14th. Andrew Adair Saunders in the 15th position. Not finishing the race. You've got the rest of the field, Dylan.
Yes, and couldn't quite. I was actually looking at where were we just laying off? I was looking at a replay.
You got 16th on back.
16th on back. Cody Luke, unfortunate finish for him. Vessa 17th. Johnny Garrett had a potentially great run there. Finishes 18th. Logan Simmons, Robert Groscher in 20th. 10 more drivers to go, and Liam Quinn, Jan Hoffman, Paulie Partonen, Ethan Agan. He's going to be wanting this race back. Nate Michael, Andrew Aiken, Joshua Chin, Matt Molnar, Randy Shoemake, and Niall McBride, who I do not believe even took the green flag. 25.364, fastest lap by Mike Garlicka.
An absolutely unbelievable race, and the drivers started to trickle on in. So we're going to start things off here with Andrew Adair Saunders, who unfortunately his race did not quite go the way it would have wanted to. Finishes off at 15th place, but 18 laps down. So Andrew Adair Saunders, not quite the way you wanted to go out either, as you were in the lead. And well, what happened there under caution?
You can put that under PLT. Wait a minute, I need to mute some stuff in here, something. Okay. Basically, I was just fuel burning, and what you usually do when you fuel burn is hold the clutch and the throttle at the same time. The mistake came, I let the clutch go.
Definitely not the way you would have wanted to go, the way you would have wanted this race to end off for you at all. But it still was a very hard-fought race for you all the way up to that point. And, of course, Twimmer Motegi coming up around as well. So what do you reckon the goal was going to be for you coming into that one?
Trying to replicate that kind of performance, but it was not entirely performance that brought me up to the lead, because I actually managed, for the third time in this league, to stall the car in the pits. That caution that put me into third came at a very perfect time for me. I was so excited, and the rest is history. I'm still kicking myself, and I hope Motegi is going better than this one.
And we'll let you go here, Andrew. Anybody you'd like to shout out for us today?
First of all, my team for building a fantastic setup, otherwise I would have not been able to fight for the win there. Of course, the products I use, Fanatec, DRE, Playseat, and of course our team sponsors, ED5Stave.com, Open Wheels Dynamic Solutions. I hope I got all of them, and I know it's a bit unprofessional, but if anyone from you wants to see my reactions to what happened, I actually streamed that race on twitch.tv_Sandro Adair. I will put that stream into a CIS collection for everyone, and well, what else to say? I'm got it and again, twitch.tv_Sandro Adair for anyone who wants to see my reactions.
All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight, Andrew Adair Saunders, and best of luck next week, or in 2 weeks here at Motegi.
Thank you.
And we're going to have to continue to quickly move things on down the line here. Next one up here, Lucas Laville, the race winner, bringing it home tonight after a very hard-fought win. Lucas, 22nd of first in a 200-lap race, and only just as well.
Only just indeed. Thank you. Yeah, patience was the key today for me, and the team as well. I think this is more a win with the team rather than only myself, as I was always. I feel like I was always in an escort with one or two teammates at least around me all the time, so pretty much like cycling in a sprint. The team carried me through the field, and when everybody had issues, was able to salvage the result for us. So very good team win. I feel like there was some good battle through the field, although I feel the stewards will have a lot of work. But yeah, it was an interesting day for sure.
And you're going to just continue to kind of move things on quickly here. This will definitely be good for you as you get set to kind of maybe launch yourself even further up towards the top of the boards. And with Ethan Hagen's unfortunate struggles earlier on, he is likely going to be no longer in the race lead. So do you intend on maybe defending your race lead coming into the next race?
Oh yeah, I love Motegi. Awesome track. and it was very low grip, so very different racing from what we had today. Less of a pack, more of a driver's track, so completely different racing. And yeah, I'm really looking forward for this one.
And before I let you go here, Lucas, anybody that you'd like to shout out for us today?
Big shout out to the team, Vortex Racing, for all the setup work this weekend, all the help during the race, because this is a team win. Shout out to all the drivers in the series, making, I hope, this a great race to watch. And to you guys at RaceSpot for all the work you put through the seasons and all the years been working with us.
And thank you, Lucas, for taking the time to join us tonight. Best of luck in the next race at Twin Ring Motegi in Japan.
Thank you, guys. See you there.
That was your race winner, Lucas Laville, who had a very well-deserved win today. Going to continue things down the line here with Marshall Stanley up 18th where he started today. Dylan, you're standing by with our second-place finisher.
Yeah, second place for Marshall. Congratulations. Oh, you were so close to that first win. What could you have done to get by your teammate?
At that point, it would have just been not getting the rear wing damage on the restart previous to what could have been a huge accident from behind us. From that point, I just didn't have enough of a pull to be able to pass Lucas, so I just pretty much reiterated to Lucas the last few laps, I'm going to stay behind you, I'll try to keep everybody off you and go win this thing.
So, blocking for the teammate, it's a good move, I guess, there. But at the end of the day, it's P2, and it could have caused a lot of calamity if there was an incident at the end. I guess my last question for you, how did you survive so much in this race?
Just pacing yourself mostly. I think we didn't really start to push the issue until the second half of the race, and I think it was just kind of luck of the draw because some of my teammates obviously got the bad end of the stick today as far as the race goes. But yeah, happy for Lucas, and happy I got on the podium, I think, for the first time in CIS. So it's a good comeback after what happened at Long Beach last race.
Well, Marshall, congratulations on that second place. Hopefully you can get that first W in the column. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good one.
That was the second place finisher there of Marshall Stanley. Going to continue to kick things along here. We're going to move things on down now to Willie Schwarbauer, finishing it off, final driver on the podium. Well, Willie, you finished yourself the first in an iconic Motorsports 3-4, so no doubt something you and your team can be proud of here today. Just kind of walk us through the race overall for you. How was the race for you?
It's kind of hard to describe. It was very chaotic. I didn't expect it to be like that, to be honest. So my first idea, or my first thought was to survive, just to survive and stay in the lead pack, and then hope everyone else crashes out.
And unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of time, so we're going to have to kind of cut things off short here, Willie. I do apologize greatly for that. But before I let you go here, anybody you'd like to shout out for us? Who helps you to be fast in the 65?
Everyone at Iconic, of course, they made a superb setup, and that put me onto P3 now.
And thank you, Willie, for taking the time to join us here tonight. Best of luck in 2 weeks at Twin Ring Motegi. That was the third place finisher there of Willie Schwarbauer. And well, Dylan, I think that is about all the time we're going to have here for one day. So before we end things off here, your final thoughts on how you think today's race went?
I thought that it was a fantastic race, some good action, some weird incidents that happened both under yellow and in green flag runs. Just a weird but good race.
Well, hopefully the next race is going to be a great one as well. Of course, if you're watching this from ESTV, you'll be coming to, you can watch the next race on YouTube here on RaceSpotTV just next week at Twin Ring Motegi. If you're watching us on YouTube, we will see you in 2 weeks. This race will be rebroadcast in full on ESTV on Roku just next week. I'm Manolo Rampol with Dylan Coyle beside me in the commentary box, and Hugo Luis doing a fantastic job behind the cameras. Thank you for joining us for another presentation here of RaceSpotTV and the Classic IndyCar Series. We'll see you all in either 1 or 2 weeks.